Oh, there you go. Oh, there's Gabby. Gabby, if you just request to join, she's waving at me. Just send a request, Gab, and then I will basically let you in. She's waving at me. Um, okay, not yet, Gab. Just send me a little request. So, oh, someone's doing some keto. Oh, there we go. There we go. You should be joining us in a second from London. Guys, if you're going to be up for a really good treat, because there you go. Brilliant.
For ages.
Oh, do you know what? It's technology, and they bundle all the view requests together. And I've actually done this before where I've let someone on and it was like not the person I wanted on this show. So now I'm very, very, very careful. Hi, Gabby. How are you?
I'm really, really good. Thank you so much for having me. This is really exciting.
Oh, I've just seen you're like, I mean, you're so busy at the moment. The book's gone crazy. You're on every single TV network. So, tell us a little bit about what's going on in your world.
Oh, you're so kind, Inge. Thank you. Well, my book called 2 Weeks to Feeling Great came out in May. And yeah, it's been incredible. It's been really, I've been pinching myself because obviously this is my first book. I'm qualified nutritional therapist. I'm not really a writer, but it has been received so amazingly, and we got incredible press and broadcasts. So no, it's been great. But it very much shows that there is a space for a nutrition book which is written in more of a kind of realistic and fun tone of voice, which is what I was aiming for.
I think the reason it's been so successful is it's so easy and relatable. And I think that's what you do so well. It reminds me a bit of when I was doing the Spa Junkie column at the FT. I wasn't a journalist. I was just a customer as a consumer. And I could speak and go in like a customer and give honest, fair review. And I feel like having read the book, it's the fact that you're not so extreme and the little tips that you give. So let's talk about that a little bit. It's January. A lot of people are wanting to cleanse. I've just explained to everyone I never cleanse in a January. But give us a little bit of tips for those who actually do want to use this month to sort of just detox.
Yes. So first of all, I have to say, I really don't like the word detox. I think it's all about cleansing and, giving your body a bit of a reset. I very much believe, this kind of hysteria about January and let's stop eating and let's stop drinking. It's, slightly 10 years ago. I think the way we live, we are really, really busy throughout the year and we do different things throughout the year. So to me, it's much more logical, do smaller and more sustainable resets throughout the year. So for example, I would do one in January and February, or January or February, not for 2 months. And then maybe just before the summer, and then maybe again in September, because you just need to kind of rebalance your system. And after Christmas, it is quite a logical thing to do, but it doesn't have to be drastic. It needs to be small, sustainable changes, which you then in some form keep for the rest of your life. This kind of new things, new positive things about food, about your well-being, you learn. So it definitely doesn't have to be 1st of January, torture yourself. It's just find a couple of weeks which work for you and just do it.
So give us a couple of tips. So what are you doing at the moment? Because you look fantastic. And again, I think let's talk to a few different issues here. For those who are wanting to just lose a few pounds, can we talk to that a little bit? And then I know many of us want to, instill exactly like you said, some best practice for the year, introduce small changes which will help us sleep better, improve our skin, etc. So let's go through some of these scenarios. Let's start with those of us. Put your hands up if you want to lose a little bit of weight and be a little healthier. And let's ask Gabby what we could do to affect that change.
So for me, intermittent fasting is by far the safest and most sustainable and most effective weight loss method. I would say weight loss, but it could also be a weight management method. Depends, you're sustaining your healthy weight, maintaining your healthy weight, because there are different levels of intermittent fasting you can do. I love it. I've been practicing it in my clinic for many, many years, and it's the also by far the most researched weight loss method. And it's really easy to do. Again, it's all about sustainability. So you have a different way of levels of, you can do intermittent fasting. You can do what I call 4-3. When you do 3 non-consecutive days per week, you will limit your calorie intake for 500 or 600 calories per day. But then on the other days, you eat as much as you want, as long as it's, you know, nice and healthy food. And by that almost imbalance of you eating and you eating less, you eating less, your body becomes resilient. And this is where the health comes from, you know, almost the kind of health benefits come from. I love it because as I said, it works really, really quickly, and it's really good for you. You could also do less challenging, perhaps, way of intermittent fasting when you do the regular 16-8, which probably doesn't promise such, you know, big weight loss as a 4-3 would do, but it's much easier.
Explain the 16-8 to those. So for those of you who don't understand, intermittent fasting is basically when you restrain from eating, you give your body a break. I've been a huge fan. So for me, I tend to eat my last meal with my kids at 6, unless I'm going out with Gabby, at which point I'll then be eating at midnight and drinking a liter of wine. But at 6 p.m. I normally finish with the kids, and then I won't eat again until lunchtime. That doesn't mean I won't have, like, potentially a little broth or a juice or some lemon water. And I do that sort of 4 mornings. And obviously Gabby will explain to us more, but it's just giving your organs a break to recover, to renew. But the 16.8, perhaps you can explain that to to everyone who's not so au fait.
Of course. So 16-8 to me, it's much more relaxed way of doing intermittent fasting. It doesn't require much of a planning, and it's, you know, it is quite easy, as you said. So basically you need to choose 16 hours of the day, of the, you know, night and day, which you will not eat. Therefore you will have 8 hours of the day which you will eat. It doesn't matter if you want to eat early in the morning and then you finish early in the evening, you know, kind of late in the afternoon, early in the evening. It doesn't matter where the window sits. You can move it the way you want. And as long as you just eat in this 8-hour bracket. And then obviously you have the 16 hours when you part of it, which you sleep, and you will therefore not eat for 16 hours. Therefore, that's why it's called 16-8. And during the 8-hour eating window, you will just eat healthier, well-balanced food, you know, full of protein, and which will make you feel good. And this is how intermittent fasting works, this particular one.
And tell me something, do you have any sort of access on your website for anyone who wants to sort of, you know, follow some of these routines? And then do you obviously also have supplements? Let's talk a little bit about how, if you are doing some of these, how can you follow this routine? Because it could sound a little quite complicated. So if there's just like a dummy's guide.
Absolutely. It sounds complicated just because there are a few different methods of intermittent fasting, but the reason why I like it is because you can find yourself in a method, you know, in one which you like, and then stick to it. It's confusing because I'm describing the 4-3, I'm describing the 16-8, but they are all different and they will all suit different people. So it's for you to go or our website or buy my book when it's very kind of thoroughly described, and you will see which one suits you and which one suits your lifestyle. There is no point of ever putting yourself off any kind of dietary plan or regime which is not really sustainable for you and which doesn't fit with your lifestyle, because you will stick with it for a couple of weeks, then you will peel off and all the weight you lost will come back.
Oh, you know what, Gabby? I'm so happy you say that. I hate the word diet. So my background, obviously writing for the FT for 13 years, I was so extreme. I would go to a Medi Spa. I would be fasting. I would just be taking, you know, 300 calories on a broth. Of course, I was losing 7 kilos in a week. I would go back to London going, oh, wow, I look fantastic. Let's go out. And then I'd binge. And I was just like a concertina. I was fat thin, and I was losing body muscle mass, getting a lot more fat. My cortisol production was up, and I had this fat tire around my stomach because my body was just so confused, and it was never sustainable. Going to, you know, again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the Viva Maya. I know you're a big fan. We'll talk about that, but it's not realistic to drink your tea and to chew your food 60 times. We're mums, we run business. I don't have the time. So, you know, I'm so happy you say that.
Absolutely. And, as you know, I've done years and years of modeling. I tried all the different bad diets in the world. I mean, you name it, from a blood type diet to, do you remember the diet when you used to drink this sugary syrup and put some lemon in there? Was it like a lemon Canadian? I don't know. You lose, but it is completely pointless, because all you do, it's obviously feeling terrible because you're drinking this sugary drinks throughout the day, and then so you have a sugar spike, fall down, sugar spike, fall down. So you feel awful all day long. Obviously, you will lose a lot of weight because you just don't give your body enough calories, and your body is in such a shock that you will lose weight. But the minute you start eating, you start gaining fat. But during the time of not eating, you lost muscle. And this is really dangerous. And this is what happens with the bad diets. You're changing your body composition. And we know that muscle makes us healthy. It keeps us healthy. It keeps us young. Think about how many anti-aging creams and nutrients we're spending money on. And the muscle, it's really what makes us metabolically active. So it burns the calories all the time. It keeps us young. And by doing these sort of yo-yo dieting, you very quickly will start losing muscle, gaining fat, and you're getting older, and this is what will be happening. So you may look very similar or a little bit bigger, but you will feel that, you don't have as strong muscle support, and you're just gaining fat.
So we talk a bit about protein a lot here. Again, so I used to be a real big protein fanatic. And then I married an Italian, and I realized, well, pasta is a really big part of our life, and we're going to have to eat that often. And so now I eat a lot of pasta. I also eat a lot of pizza. And I actually have found a really good balance. But there's also been some questions here. Can we talk a little bit about carbohydrates during a fast? Carbohydrates is part of a healthy diet. Certainly in Los Angeles, it's demonized. Everything is about protein. So let's talk a bit about carbohydrate.
Absolutely. I mean, I love protein, and I constantly repeat that you need to eat protein with every single meal. But I also constantly repeat that you do need carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are really not evil. Vegetables in the end of the day are actually carbohydrates. So you really need carbs. And quite frankly, carb-free diets, I think, are miserable. I mean, you need to have some joy from life, and tends to be that all the most joyous things tend to be connected to carbs. So as long as your meals are well balanced, carbohydrates are absolutely fine. Just choose better ones. Obviously, as I said, all the vegetables are carbohydrates, so they are very good for you. But you also have grains. A lot of people don't eat grains these days, and unless you have some digestive issue, which some of my patients do, and then obviously I will take the grains away until your digestive system heals a bit, because they're quite hard to digest. There is really nothing wrong with a rye bread if you don't have issue with gluten, or brown rice, or I love quinoa. A really good quality pumpernickel bread toasted with your egg in the morning, really good. Carbs are fine. And again, fruit is a carb as well. So it is very much about what type of carbohydrate. I'm not talking about kind of white, fluffy French baguette. Obviously, that's probably not that good for you. But other carbs are not bad at all. One rule I do tend to have, and if we're talking about weight loss, weight management, is I try to do low carbs in the evening. For my patients, I'm absolutely fine with people eating, as much carbs throughout the day. Have pasta for lunch, have your risotto for lunch. If you're trying to lose weight, you will struggle if you start having pastas in the evening.
And is that because of the high sugar content during the night? And obviously also, I remember you were helping me when my daughter wasn't sleeping in the night. And I went to Gabby because my daughter was waking up when she was little. She was like 2. And Gabby gave me a wonderful protein supplement, which I would give her just before bedtime. And she slept so much better. I do think the protein, as long as it's not super late, also just really helps with your sleep at night.
Absolutely. I mean, protein is essential before you go to sleep. The problem with carbohydrates before you go to sleep is we are slightly imbalanced the way we eat. We tend to have, smallish breakfast, smallish lunch, quite big sugary snack, and then massive dinner. It's completely wrong way around. We should have a big breakfast, a huge lunch, have what you want for lunch. Quite big snack in the afternoon. I'm a big snacker. And by snack, I don't mean crisps. I mean, again, protein-based, with some carb if you want. Nuts and seeds, yogurt, hardball, like, your hummus dips, lean meats, these sort of protein-based foods. And then in the evening, you should have your lightest meal if you want to lose weight or if you want to maintain healthy weight. Obviously, a few times a week when you have a big dinner. But it's all about balancing. When you're home, maybe try not to have white rice with your with your, you know, with your curry, or maybe keep your pizza and have it for lunch as opposed to in the evening, because carb, it's energy, carb, it's a calorie. The way it's produced in your body, it's a calorie, and then you will have a big dinner with a lot of calories, and then you go to sleep. This calorie will have to be stored somewhere, tends to be stored around your midriff. Plus,
oh my God, that was me. Literally, I had this fat tire, and
plus
then
one is a
around my
carbohydrate,
back, I had
it's
a few
sugar.
tires.
Again, you're increasing your.
Oh no, I'm listening to you, Gabby. I think we had a bit of a connection there.
Could you hear me? Yeah. I was talking about very interestingly about wine.
Oh, yes, I want to talk about wine. And tell us, well, there's a lot of questions coming in about keto. Well, I remember. What is your thought on keto? People are talking about whether they think it's good. I'm not a fan of keto. I think anything that extreme, apart from the fact that your breath absolutely stinks and you can tell someone on keto from a mile away. But give us your point of view.
I don't like keto diet. Again, to me, it's too restrictive. It doesn't work for my patients. It works. I mean, it works. It's biochemically, it works. It's extremely restrictive, and I don't think it's sustainable at all. I very admire people who can do it. I won't be able to do it, and none of my patients would. So I find intermittent fasting much easier, because I tell you why it works for my patients is nothing too long term works for my patients. We are, and to me, we are all busy. We are all traveling. We all have really, kids busy lifestyle. It needs to be. You need to do something which you can almost see the end of the tunnel. The reason why I like intermittent fasting is maybe you're slightly restricting yourself one day, but the other day you can eat what you want. Do you know what I mean? It's your end. It's almost always reachable, and to me, this makes it sustainable. I can't put my patients for some kind of strict dietary plan for 6 weeks, because they will never do it, and I don't think it's worth it. I don't think you have to do that.
Do you know what? I couldn't agree more. Like, I will honestly say, I mean, from my experience, and I'm obviously not a qualified nutritionist like you are, Gabby, but my experience is that keto is it's very aggressive on your organs. Whereas fasting is doing exactly the opposite. It's actually allowing your body to recover, to restore. If you're on Facegym, which you are, it means you're interested in skin health. When your organs are constantly having to digest, it can't actually help support all those other additional functions. So by far, I think, if we want innovation in wellness, actually fasting, which is one of the most ancient practices, I believe today, is really one of the key things to living a longer, better, healthier life, looking better, skin health, gut health, everything. We just eat too much, right?
I tell you what I really found fascinating about fasting, and we know that, by the way, fasting, the weight loss side of intermittent fasting, it's almost a side effect. So at my university, done my dissertation on intermittent fasting and cancer prevention. So the research into the health and intermittent fasting, it's massive. It's really not just about weight loss. But one thing which I found extremely interesting, next to the, anti-inflammatory and all the other benefits which we know it has, is the process of autophagy, which means it basically speeds up. You know what I mean.
Absolutely. We use it as well in our skincare. Yeah.
I mean, the fact that you speed up the process of your body finding some kind of damaged cells, killing the cells in order to reproduce a new one. So it has anti-aging effect, which again, in the days when we spend so much money on superfood supplements and creams and everything, just by the way we're eating, we can increase our lifespan and make our life more, make us healthier at the same time. I think it's really fascinating.
Absolutely. Autophagy is literally like as Gabby explained, it's one of the key benefits of allowing your body to cleanse itself. All those free radical cells that even in skin, when I fast and I do intermittent fasting, my skin and even the brain inflammation, which I'd love to talk to you a little bit about as well, Gabby. I mean, have you ever sat at a dinner party and you're like, oh my God, what's that name? What's that thing? I mean, and it's on the tip of your tongue. That's like brain inflammation, which very often is caused from inflammation in the gut. Your gut is your second brain. I believe that, but let's hear from you. What can we do to sort of improve some of that sort of mental sharpness through diet?
I think your point from looking at gut as a first step, it's very good. I will probably, I mean, if you ask mental health, first thing being nutritionist, what jumps for me, jumps at me, it's essential fatty acids. It really has to. So it's my omega-3. Oh, how much fish are you eating? So definitely I see a huge benefit of, for example, supplementing my patients with omega-3 fatty acids anytime there is some kind of inability to concentrate, bit of a brain fog, bit of a, oh, I forget everything. And, you know, even low moods. I mean, anything what's connected to brain, to me, it's always, you know, there is some kind of essential fatty deficiency. So, and, you know, essential fatty acids, as I'm sure you know, there are fatty acids which you need to get into your body by diet. Your body cannot produce them itself. So if you don't eat enough fish or enough nuts and seeds, which I don't think any of us do, you will end up deficient, and it will project on your health and actually your brain, and the kind of how your memory works and how your kind of cognitive function works will be one of the kind of symptoms you will see.
And then, so Gabby, let's talk about supplementing, because again, what I'm trying to do, because I'm very, very mindful of my impact on the environment right now. So I have cut my fish quota down massively. Like, I barely touch the stuff at the moment. Because I'm worried about the plastic inside fish, and I'm also just really worried about my impact. So I'm trying to go to a more plant-based diet, but I still see the benefits of getting this omega. Can we talk about your supplement range? What should we be supplementing? What are you taking day to day?
Sure. So number one for me would always be, I mean, 99% of my patients would be on some good quality multi-nutrient. Purely because, you know, at the clinic, I have a luxury of doing blood tests on my patients, and I'm yet to find one patient who is not deficient in something. And I'm talking about people who eat pretty good diet. Sadly, as again, I'm sure you're familiar with, but we can take, you know, we take nutrients with food, but we also doing things or taking things which are called anti-nutrients. So many people don't realize that every time you're stressed, your body produces more cortisol. Every time you drink alcohol, every time you, I don't know, if you smoke cigarette, every time you don't sleep very well, your body starts stealing nutrients almost to support those bodily processes, because they are priority. You know, your liver needs to get rid of alcohol, otherwise you become poison, and it starts stealing nutrients. Therefore, your body will start struggling, and that's how deficiencies start building up. So it's very, very common that I have a patient who eats fantastic diet and they are very, very surprised that they are deficient, but it could just be because they are stressed, or they're not sleeping well, or, you know, they're drinking quite a bit of wine every evening. So it's very much all about the balance, what you get in, and also what gets taken out. So with regards to nutrients and supplements, I always put someone on a good quality multivitamin, which is one of, I do one which is called GP Nutrition Gold, and it has all the kind of baseline vitamins and minerals, plus you have some omega-3 fatty acids for skin, hair, and nails, and for, you know, as I said, for your inflammation and your brain function, and some turmeric as well, which is a great superfood. So I always do one kind of multi-nutrient as a baseline, and then I will top up, depends what is your specific need. So if you have seen my book, which you have, you will see that there are all the different chapters which are dedicated to different kind of goals you would like to reach. So there's a chapter for energy levels, there's a chapter for sleep, one for hormonal health. And it's about you to kind of find yourself what you think you could improve or you would like to improve, and then kind of focus on that and inspire yourself from those, if that makes sense.
I love that, the fact that you've basically got that base level, which just means we're all so busy, and, you know,
yeah,
sometimes, you know, we just run so much we forget to eat. I love the fact that with your supplement and gold, that you've got this one-stop shop. It's one less thing to worry about. I love the fact that you've actually looked at us as a complete human, whether that be a woman or man, and I feel like that's just so interesting. And you've got a new gold, right, that's also got collagen.
Oh, yeah, which we have just hit. So pretty. Look at this. Ooh. I tell you why, because it's fantastic. I find I've improved it. I improved the flavor, which is, it's amazing. It's wild berry taste. But regardless of that, it now has collagen as well, which I always wanted to include in my product. So this one is really kind of beauty, and I would say hormonal balance focus as well. So I have collagen, all the baseline multi-nutrients, but I also have adaptogens to manage your stress levels and manage your hormonal levels as well. I have some B vitamins for your energy. I have really good dose of protein for your blood sugar balance. It's a really nice combo. And because it tastes delicious, I mean, you can have it with water, but I have people who mix it in their yogurt in the morning, who puts it in their porridge. Love that. But as you said about the multi-nutrient and multivitamin, for me and for my patients, it's a no-brainer. That's one thing you take every morning just to make sure you got yourself covered. And then, me and you have been talking about sleep, we've been talking about energy, then you can always top up. If you feel you still need a little boost, I will take B vitamin, B complex for energy levels. If you feel like you may not be sleeping very well, you take some good quality magnesium, which will help you sleep. But your baseline multi-nutrient you should always have that. And the reason why I formulated my range of supplements is because there is just so many different confusing nutrients, and you shouldn't be taking 40 pills. You should just take a couple of pills, one product, which will cover you for all of those.
So let's unpack that a little bit, because you touched on some really interesting topics. I'd love to talk about hormones and how this potential product can help you with hormones and the impact of hormonal imbalance on our life, on our mood, on our sleep, on our skin. Let's talk about that a little bit. And then I'd love to just also touch on adaptogenics. That seems to be massive right now. And I'm not entirely sure people really understand how they work.
Sure. So hormones is actually weirdly simpler than you would think. I remember when I went to university and I done my medicine, I used to think, there needs to be like specific kind of remedies for specific concerns, but it's really, really not. It's about just look at your body as a whole, because hormones are just chemical messengers, right? So if your body is imbalanced, for example, if your digestive system doesn't work, therefore your liver is not cleansing your body properly, your hormones will become imbalanced, because nothing will be able to recycle those hormones. In the same time, if I'm not having enough nutrients from my diet, and I may be missing a couple of B vitamins, which is a very common deficiency. Again,
I've got such a big deficiency in vitamin B, by the way.
I know.
All my blood tests always tell me.
Yes, because they're water soluble, so your body does not really store them. But yeah, so for hormones, you need substrate to produce the hormones. If you don't eat enough protein, if you don't eat enough saturated fat, by the way, which a lot of my female patients don't do. People are slightly fatophobic at the moment. I think we are just coming out of it a little bit. But I had lots of people who were really worried about, that fat, saturated fat. I don't eat meat. I don't eat dairy products. It's fine, but you do need fat for the hormonal production. And sometimes if you're missing some vitamins and minerals, your hormonal production will struggle. So again, really, really important to give your body a substrate for producing hormones. And one last thing, which is a big one, is if you're producing too much of a certain hormone, such as your stress hormone, cortisol, you will start stealing. I mean, stealing is exaggerating, obviously, but you will start taking nutrients away from other hormonal production, because as far as your body is concerned, cortisol is the major stress hormone, and it keeps you alive, basically. So even that kind of mild levels of stress will start depleting your nutrients massively, and your hormones will start being imbalanced. Therefore this will imbalance your system.
And so by taking this supplement, you're just giving your body the opportunity to sort of keep your hormones in balance. And what would you say to women who are entering or either premenopause or menopause? Is this a good supplement for them too?
Absolutely, yeah. I love this product because it's very, very hormonal balancing, and it's aimed for I would say people my age. I mean, I'm 42, so it's aimed for 40 plus. I would say definitely, it's very rich in hormonal balancing nutrients. If I have a patient who would come to me approaching menopause or being perimenopausal, straight away, good quality multivitamin. I mean, really, really good. There are so many B vitamins, for example, or all the little vitamins you need, and I'm sure you will be missing some. So you may as well take a good quality multi, and that will be your first step. Then I would always look at at your blood sugar levels, blood sugar balance throughout the day, because again, if you go up and down, it's very stressful for the body. So you're increasing the cortisol level, again, stealing the nutrients away from the hormonal production.
And Gabby, can I stop you? Is that tested again through blood tests? Or how could someone who potentially doesn't have access to blood tests, how can they actually sort of you know, discover whether it's their blood sugar. They just know they feel shitty, they're tired, they're moody, they want to leave their husband, they want to leave their job. I mean, everyone wave at me if you feel like
Sure.
that tonight. Like, how can they actually sort of, you know,
Sure. Well, first of all, I never measure cortisol in my clinic. You definitely can. I find it completely wasteful because I can see when someone is stressed, and I think you could, you know, one knows that they are stressed. But what is really important with stress, it's, I don't mean I am so busy with work I can't think. It could be the mild levels of anxiety you're continuously having because your kid's school, or because you know, you don't know who's going to cook in the evening, or you know, you feel guilty because you don't feel like a good mother because you haven't seen your children for a day. You know what I mean? It could be anything which increases your cortisol levels. So this is also considered being stressed. It's quite broad. It's quite difficult to say, you know, people don't have to come and see me in a clinic to kind of see where they are. But blood sugar levels, you know, you need to eat protein with every single meal. If you're not eating that, you will start spiking your blood sugar levels and causing the imbalance as well.
Okay, so there are definitely ways that you can sort of self-medicate without necessarily having to take those blood tests as well. But I think, you know, if I just sort of summarize to everyone, I think what is wonderful about what you've done, Gabby, is you've taken all this difficult thinking out of it. And by actually taking some of these supplements, you've got that catch all. And then I love what you said. And I would love to talk a little bit more about the book now, about how you can then supplement to be less stressed, to have less anxiety, if you are on the menopause, if you need more sleep, if you are breaking out. Tell us a little bit about how the book can help us.
Sure. And one thing I have to add, the question you've asked me about the menopause, if you read the book, it will be very, very clear to you. It's very difficult in 20 minutes to describe, you know, all the different tips and tricks you could do, but you could do a lot by just diet and by just taking the correct supplements.
Can you give us a quick couple of tricks? I know I'm bouncing around, but menopause is such a big thing for our community as well. What would be a couple of top tricks that we could potentially impart with some of our guests tonight?
Well, I should give you top supplements then. So I talk about the multi-nutrient, that's clear. Additional omega-3 for hormonal balance, really important. So fish oil if you want, or, you know, vegan sources such as algae oil. Consider good quality probiotic as well. Again, digestion is incredibly important, especially when you're having all these hormones which need to be detoxified, and you know, your body needs to get rid of them. You need to make sure your digestion and your liver kind of works hand in hand. And I would definitely consider taking some adaptogens. You can take them separately, or they are in a gold as well. I love adaptogens, and the way they work, we don't really know how they work, but they are shown to balance. You rebalance your body and your hormonal levels with regards to every stressor kind of around you, if that makes sense.
And what is the source of your adaptogens?
What do I have here? I think I have, how do you pronounce it? Ashwagandha?
Ashwagandha, that's right.
I'm Czech, as you know.
I'm a big fan of ashwagandha, definitely.
And Moringa, I have a rhodiola, I have a reishi, and mushrooms, which I absolutely love. I love medicinal mushrooms.
I mean, let's just talk about mushrooms for a second. Mushrooms for me, I feel, are one of the biggest trends for 2022. I want to grow them. I want to eat them. I'm putting them in every single supplement, and I hope some of my formulators are watching because I'm going mushroom mad. They're just so good. Gabby, give me some ideas on your experience with mushrooms.
I love mushrooms. I love mushrooms since they're fantastic. Again, I love the kind of way different cultures are using different supplements differently, for example. So I know, for example, that they give different medicinal mushrooms to cancer patients in Japan. So do you know what I mean? I mean, to me, this is fascinating, because the reason why I started loving nutrition is by doing such small changes in someone's life, and, you know, not medicating them, you can create such a massive changes in their well-being and in their health. And to me that some dry mushroom can potentially have anti-carcinogenic effect. It's fascinating. I like all the different types of, all the different combination of mushrooms. So you have all the maitake, shiitake. I mean, shiitake you can obviously eat as well. I use them in my soups all the time. I think it's a reishi, cordyceps. So, all the kind of nice balance. There are many companies who do them, and I'm about to launch in 2022 this year as well. I'm going to launch full on mushroom product. I know, I love them.
Oh, guys, well, then you have to, if you love mushrooms too, or you want to know more, you have to stay tuned because Facegym's doing a ton in mushrooms too.
Nice.
Also, we spoke a little bit about collagen, and I know people are asking, please, can you mention those supplements again? To just be clear, everyone, are you wanting the supplements for menopause? If so, it was omegas, it was mushroom, adaptogenics, and you said algae.
It was a multi-nutrient, so your baseline multi-nutrient, so your multivitamin, let's call it that. It would be omega-3 fatty acids, which could be from fish source, which it's generally stronger and more potent. But if you don't want to do fish, which is absolutely fine, you do algae oil. Third one, it's probiotic, so good quality, good bacteria.
And can I stop you there? What is a really good probiotic? Because, and again, some people are like, is a good probiotic one that I have to keep in the fridge, or can you get a probiotic that's, out of the fridge?
So there are 3 different ones I use. I use for my patients which have digestive problems. So we are talking about, really some kind of food intolerances, food allergies, a lot of bloating. When you have a digestive problem. I use it's called VSL 3. VSL. They're fantastic. They're very, very strong. They are medical grade probiotics. So they are very, very potent, and not all of us need them. I would say this is very much when you have a digestive issues. There is the kind of medium one, which is Optibac. I like as well. We work with
I've got Optibac here. I travel with Optibac, but VSL I keep in the fridge.
That's exactly what I do. VSL needs to be in the fridge. Optibac doesn't have to be in the fridge. So again, for traveling, fantastic. My kids actually my kids are taking VSL as well. I would also use Simprove. I love Simprove, but it does have to be in the fridge, and you have to take it on empty stomach.
And it just tastes so horrific.
I love it. I know. If you take the mango flavor, it's nice. The mango.
Don't believe her. It tastes terrible. Even the mango flavor, it's horrific.
I'm brainwashed. My poor children, they love it so much. So
oh my God. I mean, that's terrible. I can't believe your kids are taking Simprove. Probably with a lollipop.
I also take VSL powder on a spoon because they love the taste.
Unbelievable, Gabby. You're an incredible mom. I want to answer a couple of questions as well before we go into the book, before we forget. Some people have been asking about medicine and vitamins when you are doing your intermittent fasting. So do you have to break your fast? Because obviously, I certainly find that when I take vitamins on an empty stomach, I can feel quite heady and nauseous.
Absolutely, absolutely. First of all, before you do intermittent fasting, I have to say you need to have a healthy weight. So you always, if you're in doubt, always check with your doctor. I mean, intermittent fasting, as I said, it's incredibly healthy, but you need to have healthy weight. If you're underweight, you should never start intermittent fasting. You should never start it if you're pregnant, obviously. And if you're on a medication, it should be perfectly safe, but always check with your GP. You really have to, because it can interfere with your medication program. With regards to supplementation, yes, you're very right. I mean, anything potent will give you nausea because you wouldn't have enough food in your stomach. So I would always leave on a fasting day. I would take gentler supplements. So I know myself that, for example, so if you take the gold drink on an empty stomach, you'll be absolutely fine. If you take one of my gold capsules, which I have as well, which have a lot of B vitamins, they will make you nauseous. This is not because they are bad for you, but this is purely because B vitamins are a little bit aggressive, and some herbs are aggressive as well. Adaptogens can be big aggressive as well. Yeah. So you always take supplements with meal, and with that I mean a proper meal. I don't think I don't mean one apple or one pear. You need to have a protein heavy meal.
And how about probiotics when you're on fasting?
That's fine. Probiotics shouldn't cause any nausea, like never. And omega-3 fatty acids don't cause nausea. It's generally the multivitamins, the kind of strong multivitamins, which they will smell of yeast a little bit because they will have a B vitamins. It's B vitamins basically which give you nausea.
That's right. And then someone's been asking about an underactive thyroid. Is there anything that you can advise?
Well, again, I mean, with low thyroid, we are looking at the hormonal imbalance. I mean, is there too much stress in your in your life? Is there cortisol which is kind of imbalancing you? Low thyroid can be also linked to, well, generally it's linked to stress, also nutritional deficiency as well.
Okay. It depends. So basically something you can look into.
It could be low thyroid can also be due to autoimmune condition called Hashimoto's. So it needs to be, you need to find out from your doctor what it is. If it's autoimmune condition, it could be a little more complex because it could be linked to food sensitivities and intolerances as well.
And then a few questions coming in about wine, my favorite subject.
Yeah.
So can we just talk about how am I going to get through January with feeling a little bit better, but I still need my glass of wine? Can we just stop demonizing wine? Is there anything positive you can say about wine? I know Resveratrol. I drink so much wine and I'm like, I'm drinking myself beautiful because I know Resveratrol is good for you. And the wine makes me feel so happy. And I'm not talking about a bottle, ladies and gentlemen. Like, let's talk a little bit about alcohol.
Alcohol, it's fine. It's fine as long as it is in the moderation and you're looking in your system at your system in the same time. So the problem with alcohol is it's an anti-nutrient. So if you drink higher levels, and I'm not talking about 1 or 2 glasses, I'm talking about more on a daily basis, you will start draining nutrients, as I have just said. So if my patients drink, obviously as a responsible nutritionist, I will inform them about the risk of drinking a bit too much. But in the same time, I will give them really good supplement to support their liver function, because that's all you can do. And to be honest, that should be enough. Because your liver, it's very nutrient dependent. So if you give your liver nutrients to deal with the alcohol, you just help to speed up.
Hang on. Drop the mic. So what you're saying is I just have to take more supplements when I'm drinking. So basically I can continue drinking.
So you know what is my first supplement I've designed? I have it here in the drawer. It's called Clean Me, purely because I drink way too much wine.
Okay, guys, this is fantastic news. So for those of you who already want to give up the ghost, you can have your wine. Just go and grab the Clean Me from Gabby. I know I'm going to be asking my assistant to get on the call right now to get me some of those. And then they're saying, what are the nutrients to help the liver in the Clean Me?
So I will tell you in a second. So with liver, by the way, liver is fascinating because it's so purely it's a nutrient dependent. So as long as you will give it enough nutrient, it will process stuff efficiently, but you just need to give it the nutrients it needs. One of my favorites, liver nutrients. So what are they? I mean, they're all the antioxidants. So obviously all the vitamin C, all the selenium, zinc, it's very strong antioxidant. You need magnesium for liver function. There are a few kind of specific ones, but may I just say, this is the reason why I'm formulating a multi-nutrient product. So you don't have to go to Holland & Barrett tomorrow with a list of 35 different nutrients because it's painful. But there are a few kind of really specific ones, N-acetylcysteine, alpha-lipoic acid, green tea extract, it's really good. I mean, there are really a lot of them. And as I said, you don't need to take a specific pill. You just take a multi-nutrient, which will give you all of them.
And there's someone who just basically said she's had cancer. Any advice to take supplements with food as opposed to vitamins?
It takes supplements with food. I think you do need to discuss with your doctor. I wouldn't know what stage of cancer treatment you are. If you're still in a treatment, some nutrients can definitely interfere with the cancer medication and with other medications as well. So if any kind of condition at the present, it's always best to discuss with the doctor. But I would look more at the kind of natural food sources, such as, superfoods, red superfoods, green superfoods. Probiotics should be safe as well, but do please check.
So many questions coming in, Gabby. I know we're running out of time, but I want to do a couple more. Can you do a routine for people that have acne or hormonal acne? Like, what kind of supplements can people be taking for hormonal acne?
I think for hormonal acne, you need to go back in when we talk about hormones and what we have just discussed. So it's about balancing your kind of hormonal levels. So we just talk about it. Good quality multi-nutrient, balancing blood sugar levels throughout the day. So protein with every single meal and eating regularly. What else? Definitely look into your gut bacteria. So this is where your probiotics would be quite relevant, because hormonal acne, everything tends to come from kind of digestion and from your intestines. So it needs to be perfectly balanced. And I have a lot of patients with quite severe acne, which really, really improved until, after some kind of probiotic course and until, when you balance their digestions properly.
As someone who's had adult acne up until very recently, I found that healing my gut,
Mm.
improved my skin. And I used to have the most painful, I used to call them Vesuvius. I mean, every boyfriend I've ever had would basically like be so scared, because every morning I'd wake up with one giant big lump and it was so painful. And as one would go down, another one would come. And I totally fixed this through, probiotics and improving my gut, eating tons of broccoli, raw broccoli. I also found that worked for me as well. But just quickly, two things. Someone's asking about IBS and intermittent fasting. Can they still fast if they've got IBS? Is that something you've got an opinion on?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, IBS is just a series of symptoms. It's not really a medical condition as such. So yeah, fasting should not affect it at all. IBS, again, I would look at a proper supplementation of proper probiotics. So I would think that VSL, for example, would really be beneficial for them.
And then, Gabby, supplements for a migraine. People saying that they've got some really difficult problems with headaches. Any ideas?
Yes, magnesium, it's a nature's relaxant, so it relaxes everything in the body. Problem with migraines and headaches, it's a constriction of the vessels. That's where the pain comes from. So by taking magnesium, you're relaxing everything. So magnesium, it's very de-stressing. It relaxes the muscle when you have a muscle cramp. It helps with the sleep, and it would also help with the migraines. Migraines are linked. I mean, they are not purely it's not purely a reason, but they are very much linked to magnesium deficiency, and one of the most common deficiencies to have.
What I like about magnesium too is you can take it orally, but you can also supplement it through the skin as well. So I love bathing in magnesium as well. And it's so important whenever I feel stressed, which is often. I find that taking magnesium, like you say, before I go to sleep, having magnesium in the bath just really helps to sort of, get my circadian rhythm back in shape as well.
Absolutely. I would always recommend a supplementation of magnesium as well. You don't get enough from baths, and it's not a most absorbable form of magnesium. So something like magnesium malate and glycinate. Magnesium, it's very important to take in a good chemical form. Otherwise,
and
it's completely...
do you have enough magnesium in your product so that if we're taking your gold multi, is there enough magnesium that we don't need to supplement in addition?
It should be. It would definitely be your baseline. If you feel like you have severe insomnia, I would suggest get a little top up for a couple of months, and then you just need it for a couple of months to raise your levels, and then you're fine.
Yeah, well, I would even take it intravenously as well if you're into that. Last couple of questions just about the book. Tell us a little bit more. What's happening in Gabby's world? What's coming next? What is your big advice for those who are potentially looking? How can the book help them?
It can help them because it's
and
realistic.
Says you look like Kate Moss, Gabby.
Oh
Gabby is gorgeous. She looks like Kate Moss.
I'm not sure if I do, but thank you very much. That's very kind. I think you would love the book. It's realistic. It's also fun. We try to keep a bit of a light-hearted tone. I think there are so many very preachy nutritional books. It has a great recipes, and I think you would love it. And what's happened next? It's really exciting. I'm about to write my second book. I'm gone mad. I know. And you know what it's going to be on? You will love it. It's autophagy, intermittent fasting. So longevity, intermittent fasting, and a bit of weight loss into it. So it's going to be amazing. I've just started doing a big research, and it's just fascinating topic. So I'm really excited.
Oh, I'm so excited. And actually we should connect again, because autophagy is also going to be a big topic for Facegym. We're actually formulating with new ingredients to exfoliate the skin, but using the same autophagy principles. So not that harsh skin barrier destroying actives. We're actually finding new ways for the skin to actually diminish free radical damage through unique next generation actives. So I think we'll get you back on to talk about that as well.
Well, it's been so lovely. Thank you so much for having me. I love chatting to you. Thank you.
Lots of love. See you later. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.